You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
It only takes one step, twist, or crunch to know something doesn't feel right. Essentia Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team gets you back to doing what you love with commitment, resilience, intention. We're here to keep you moving forward. Visit essentiahealth.org to learn more about orthopedics and sports medicine, like nowhere else.
Hello and welcome to the Duluth News Tribune's Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health. I'm your host, Matt Wellens, the Bulldogs hockey beat reporter at the News Tribune.
And I'm Zach Schneider, the television voice of UMD Hockey on My Nine Sports.
Joining us on the podcast this week is a senior goaltender from the Bulldogs men's hockey team. He's back on the podcast, second season in a row, I believe. Actually, I think we've had you on every season you've been at UMD here now. But welcome back to the podcast from what we like to call the goaltending mecca of UMD goaltending in Cohasset, Minnesota. Welcome back, Zach Stejskal.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We okay calling that, like, Cohasset, the goaltending mecca?
Yeah, it has been for the last, 6 years or so. So, yeah, I'm fine with that.
There's something comforting about hearing in goal from Cohasset, Minnesota. Like, it's just, we've had it for enough years here now. The Bulldogs are heading to Bemidji State on Saturday to take on the Beavers in the second game of a home and home series. That means we get to pass through your hometown of Cohasset. I always enjoy these trips to Bemidji when they come in the fall because US2 it's a nice scenic drive, though dodging deer on the way home in the middle of the night is never fun for people that like to follow the follies of Bruce Siski and I on the road. This is the infamous road trip where somewhere between Deer River and Floodwood, we smoked a deer in a KDAL or whatever, one of Bruce's station vehicles, smoked a deer on US2 in the middle of the night. And my wife had to come get us because the car was not drivable home. Jeez. We thankfully did not have, I didn't have kids at the time, so she was willing to do that.
Well, it's a good thing because you had texted me and I wasn't working. So I was in Duluth, but I had been watching and enjoying the game in a different fashion.
Did we text you that night?
And was not able to come get you either for different reasons than maybe your wife would have been. So I'm glad somebody could come rescue you.
Zach, how many times have you, living out in Cohasset, you've had to make that drive on US2 a ton? We almost hit one, I think, coming back from Bemidji last year. You've had to have hit a deer in your life, right?
I actually haven't.
Wow.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood now.
No, I've been pretty fortunate with that, but I made that drive, multiple times, and you see them all the time, so I don't know how it doesn't happen yet. So
yeah, I feel like anyone in the Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, you're due at some point. Zach, what's your deer count?
Nothing.
Zero?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I actually just hit my first one last year coming back. I live in Two Harbors now, driving up 61 after a game against Colorado College. Actually saw someone took out a deer ahead of me after Saturday's game.
Oh, geez.
If that person's a listener of the podcast, I appreciate you taking one for the team and smashing that deer on 61 going northbound. But anyways, I like these trips, minus the dodging of the deer, which you're just gonna have to do anywhere in Minnesota at this time of year. I enjoy those trips down US2 way better than the middle of the winter ones. Zach, it sounds like this is a quick day trip. I don't know if you've seen the travel schedule yet. You guys are just making a day trip there and back on Saturday to Bemidji. But let's say there's time for a pit stop on the way out to the Beavers, running through Cohasset. If you could make a pit stop in Cohasset, where are you in the team stopping? Where are you pulling that bus over at?
Well, it's not really a restaurant. It's more of a meat place or a place that sells steaks and whatnot. It's called S&S. It's technically in Grand Rapids, but it's right on your way to Bemidji. S&S meats get
not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. No.
You don't have an NIL deal or anything with them. This is a pure endorse. Yeah. This is pure recommendation.
Yeah,
you're
just
giving here.
A family-owned business in Grand Rapids. They make unbelievable steaks, and they make their own rub actually, and it's seriously to die for. It's the best steak I've ever made myself.
So it's in Rapids, not in Cohasset.
Yep, it's right on Highway 2 though, so you'll pass right through it if you're going to.
That was a big thing.
The Greater Grand Rapids Cohasset Metro.
Well, that was a big thing, right? When Hunter Shepard was playing and he was getting his start of that big string that he created, is that he played his high school hockey at Grand Rapids, but he was from Cohasset. That was a big thing that he made sure was evident to us early on.
Oh yeah, he made sure everybody knew that for sure.
Is that same for you? Is that same for everybody from Cohasset?
It's not really. I don't know. It's kind of funny that Shep did that, and I actually just saw him doing that, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that too, just because good juju. So that's the reason I did it. But there's really nothing there in Cohasset.
Well, I mean, the Grand Rapids, like their hockey program is such a big deal and everything. I mean, Dylan Sandberg every once in a while slipped in for fun, like, I'm not from Hermantown, I'm from Twig, which just I think was just to like confuse people, so they'd be like, "Where is Twig?" and such. But yeah, so famous. We love the small towns that players come from. I think I've said this. I grew up in a small town in rural Wisconsin and such. Heck, a small town in Irma, Alberta. We always say put this podcast on the map. And a famous line from that podcast that we had with Parker McKay back in season 1, we're talking about Irma. And we asked, where you'd stop in Irma. I think we were asking, like, what was a good restaurant recommendation. And he said his parents' house. That's how small Irma was. And we asked, well, what's she making for dinner? And he said, well, she's not making you food, but she'll mix you a drink. If the boys and everyone's stopping at your parents' house, at your house where you grew up, what's the family making for them? What's on the menu there?
I think my dad would start off with a old-fashioned whiskey, just straight on the rocks. My mom's having a nice glass of wine, and then they're gonna make you some cheesy potatoes, some beans, almondine, and then steaks from S&S, of course. That's kind of what I grew up on. So
those steaks sound good. Like that might have to be a stop on my way back. I'm staying till Sunday because I don't want to smoke a deer in the middle of the night. And my wife said, I am not coming to get you anymore if you hit a deer on US2.
So you're just gonna show up on the Stejskal's door?
No, I'm gonna go to S&S on Sunday.
Okay,
they're open on Sunday morning.
Say, hey, where's my whiskey and my steak?
at the Stejskals. I don't have an invite from them. So. Yeah,
until this airs.
Yeah, till this airs. Yeah, I get invited to Irma all the time, and I'm gonna get there one of these years.
Cohasset's more realistic.
Cohasset is more. Well, we go out, family. We go out that way. My parents like camping at the Pokagama.
Okay.
Little campground there. They've done there. Otherwise, going out to Leach Lake.
Are we just gonna let him say it like that?
Yeah.
Are you gonna let that
I
slide?
butchered it. Well, how do you say Pokagama?
Not even close. Pokagama.
Pokagama?
Yeah.
Pokagama. It's kind of funny because like if we're golfing and I'm with my buddies, we always say like Pokegama. Like let's go.
The way I butcher it, yeah.
Right. Zach is so much nicer than Hunter.
Shep would have
left the podcast.
Yeah, Shep would have stared me down. Not as hard as the time we asked him, try to get fishing secrets from him, where he would just like silence up and give us a death stare and be like,
that from him.
yeah, if I told you I have to kill you. Don't ask Hunter Shepard where he's hunting or fishing. So I think most people just pass right through Cohasset on US2 en route to somewhere. Like I said, going out to Leech Lake and Federal Dam or Bemidji or Western Minnesota there. What are we missing in Cohasset by staying on the highway and not maybe taking a left or a right? Are we missing anything?
Just my parents' house, really.
Just your parents' house, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, there's a few good, like parks. There's a few good walking trails, but other than that, it's just a bunch of homes on lakes up there. So,
how many people are in Cohasset, roughly?
You know what? I drive by the population sign, but I can't remember.
In the hundreds, in the thousands?
I want to say it's in the hundreds.
Okay.
I think
so
maybe.
I thought I saw
under 1,000. I think.
Is it under 1,000? Okay, I thought I saw
think.
somewhere that maybe it was like 2,000. But that might, I don't know. I don't know. Like, is it village or city and then the greater township, out of the greater Cohasset area and stuff like that? It's a beautiful area. Like, you get out of Grand Rapids and it's kind of it's into just a beautiful area. I mean, does everyone around you, Hunter Shepard, known for big hunter, fisherman. Mm-hmm. People used to joke that he'd leave Amsoil after practice and go out on an ice shanty on the bay or something like that. Like, is everyone big hunters and fishers around there? It seems like it's tough not to be someone that would enjoy the outdoors,
right?
Living out there.
Definitely, outdoor enthusiasts, I would say, whether that's hunting or fishing. They actually just opened up mountain biking trails right next to my parents' house, and it's technically in Cohasset, which is really cool. I've done that a few times with my bike, but it's kind of exciting that you get that in a small town. They're like brand new, kind of state-of-the-art mountain biking trails, which you don't really see. I mean, Duluth has a bunch, but you don't really see that in northern Minnesota, and they just built those, so that's pretty cool.
You big into mountain biking? Like, what are your favorite outdoor activities?
Yeah, I'd say, hunting and fishing, just because, I was born Cohasset. So, but other than that, I in the outdoors, I love mountain biking. Yeah, I do the Duluth Traverse every year, and it takes me a while, and it kicks my butt, but it's a lot of fun.
Has Shep let you in on his secrets, being from Cohasset and in the goaltender brotherhood, or no?
Absolutely not.
Even you can't get in.
No, I've been fishing with him a few times, but it's where are we going? He's
Does
not
he
telling
blindfold
me.
you until you get to the spot?
Oh yeah, no, he won't give up anything. It's pretty crazy, but once you gain that trust with him, then he'll let you know. But the first few times you go hunting or fishing with him, it's lips sealed. You don't tell anybody where you're going.
He's probably not even bringing you to the best spots the first few times. It's probably like the trial spots, and then he's going to find out, wait a week or something and see, hey, did Stezzy tell you where we went this weekend or anything like that? Verify you. Shep, we're talking about him here. Everyone knows him in Cohasset and stuff. Everyone knows you, obviously, as a great goaltender from there. Who's maybe the best hockey player from Cohasset that we haven't heard of?
From, Cohasset, that's very slim pickings. I actually can't even think of anybody else that lives. Oh, actually, Jake Bischoff, he was technically a Cohasset resident. I think he still is today.
Okay.
So I would have to say Jake Bischoff for sure.
Jake Bischoff is the other name we need to know from there.
Yep.
So if those are really the three biggest names, you can't, and if it's in the hundreds, Cohasset, you don't have your own team when you're little, you're always in Grand Rapids?
Just an elementary school that's separate. They don't do any other than Pony League football, but they don't have our own hockey program or anything. It's all Grand Rapids.
Is there even a rink, an outdoor rink in Cohasset, or is it all?
There is, yeah. There is,
okay.
Yep.
Is that, you just skate there a lot growing up?
Yeah. Everything's relatively close, so I want to say it's right by my house, but it's probably a 8-minute drive, but yeah, we used to skate there a lot. Played a lot of baseball there too. Actually, it's a little park. I'm slipping the Gun Park, it's called. But yeah, they have outdoor rink and they have 4 fields. 1 baseball field and then 3 softball fields. So did a lot of outdoor activities there and kind of learned to skate there. And my dad actually used to make a rink in the backyard, so that's kind of where I picked up the game. My brother played for Grand Rapids as well, and he kind of needed somebody to shoot on, so I was the guy.
Is that how you became a goalie? I feel like we've heard this with goalies before. There are older siblings who need someone to shoot on, and then it becomes the younger sibling that when did you become a goaltender? When did you know that was your spot?
We kind of needed a goalie growing up. I played with Gabe Holum, and we needed 2 goalies at our age level. And my brother, literally that's how it goes. My brother said, "Oh, hey, I can get you some equipment. One of my best friends on his Bantam team's a goalie, and he's got a ton of extra equipment." So one day he comes home with pads and a Calgary Flames jersey. I still have a picture in this. And he's like, "Yeah, all right, you just gotta try it out." Strapped me up in my parents' house in the kitchen, pretty much. And then we walked to the backyard, and I started taking some shots and kind of just fell in love with the game there.
When did you know you were a good goaltender, that you weren't that just someone for your brother to shoot on?
Yeah. We've always had really special teams in Grand Rapids. For how small of a town it was seriously crazy. So I just remember my first year of squirts when I was still playing out, we'd be getting ripped by we'd go down the cities and we'd probably give up 50 goals on the weekend and literally score 3. We were horrible. But Blake McLaughlin, he moved to Grand Rapids, and we got Micah Miller from Reamer, and we got these key pieces that my Pee Wee year, we made it to state for the first time, and then my first year Bantam, we won state. And so we just had this really special group that we were never out of the fight. And, we all got better together, I think, at such a young age. And then we ended up winning the high school state tournament too. So there was something special about our group. And I think, having those guys shoot on me at such a young age is how I became a good goalie for sure.
Did you hate it at the beginning, or was it always kind of I'm going to get better at this? Or was that was there a turning point to where you started to like the position from the early days?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I think once I really picked it up, and we actually I feel like I'm the first one. I was one of the first ones getting goalie instructions, just one-on-one goalie instructions in Grand Rapids from a guy named Derek Peterson. And we really connected, and he taught me the game essentially. And that's where it happened, I think. That's where I was okay, I can actually do something with this, and I believe in myself, and I'm doing good. So that's kind of where I, fell in love.
So who was Derek? He was your goalie coach, but did he play? Where was he from? What was his background?
Yep, he played for Coleraine growing up, Greenway. And then he played a little bit at BSU. And then he was the goalie coach for BSU for a little bit, and then moved back to Grand Rapids and started his own business. Or he moved back to Coleraine and started his own business. And I was literally his first or second client. And it was, I want to say my second year Pee-wees, first year Bantams.
So that was different than Shep's upbringing. Shep it wasn't the same guy with both of you. That
he did work with Shep, but Shep was probably in high school when he started working with him.
Okay.
I kind of got him in my youth hockey days. But yeah, it's the goaltending position is crazy. Just in the last 10 years, it seems everybody needs a goalie coach, which, I mean, obviously it makes sense, right? But literally, he was the first guy in northern Minnesota to kind of start doing that stuff, which is cool.
Sometimes in those small towns, you see guys like Shep and you have success at a level like UMD, and now Shep's having success at the pro level. Do you go back and find that kids are now wanting more to be a goalie in the Grand Rapids area than they were when you were growing up because they're seeing some of the things, the avenues that have opened to the two of you?
Yeah, I think so. There's a few goalies in Grand Rapids, which, one of them, he's going to be really good. Hopefully UMD can get him. Carter Casey's his name. I work with him in the summer. I work for PD now, the goalie coach I worked with growing up. I work for him. And seeing these kids, it's really cool when you go and, teach them. They really look up to you, which is you never really realize once you're doing it. But if I had a college goalie come and shoot on me and coach me when I was at that age, I would be freaking out. So it's really cool working with him, and he's going to be really good. So kind of talk to Sandy after the end of the year and see if we can get him on board.
Yeah, I don't think that's tampering for him to say that.
He is a coach promoting his players.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
What's it like being on that other end? Being, are there things you learn about yourself as a goaltender as you're coaching that maybe you apply, and also just getting a chance to work with a younger kid? The sounds of it, you get almost as invested in them and their game as your own.
Yeah, I mean, goalie coaching is I get paid to do this. It's crazy. It's I really enjoy it because I feel like I talk too much sometimes to these kids. I think they kind of get sick of me, but no, you do see, you have to kind of take into account both sides of the game, right? And when you're coaching, you kind of realize, oh wait, maybe I shouldn't say that and say this instead. You know what I mean? Because it could be confusing. But I think I really enjoy coaching, and I think I can do a good job of that. But you do kind of see both sides of the game, and you kind of try to implement that into coaching.
I feel like so often we say guys in your position have to stay humble and stay focused, but how cool is it to go back to a small community like Cohasset, like Grand Rapids, and see these kids who, like you say, are now looking up to you and up to Hunter Shepard, wanting to be where you are one day. It's got to be a pretty cool feeling to go from where you were when, like you say, if a UMD player comes and talks to you when you're 8, 9, 10 years old, it would be the coolest thing in the world, and now you're on the other end of that.
Yeah. No, I get texts from, these kids' parents all the time, like, hey, can you talk to so-and-so? And, it's a lot of fun because you can really see the joy that it brings them, and they're always really, really nervous talking to you, so it's kind of funny. But no, anytime you can do that, I think really helps, build a base with the community. I want to see Grand Rapids kind of thrive with hockey, so I want to do everything I can to go back and help out and, just kind of do what I can to see them successful again.
You kind of started it before you even got to UMD. I mean, you were a local celebrity after that state championship win. I would imagine everybody on that team probably came back, and I mean, if they didn't know you guys already, they knew you after that run in what was it, 2017? 2017.
Yeah. No, we got back. It was the next day after we were doing like some like celebrations or whatever with the team. We came back on the bus and we went to the IRA, which is our rink. And literally, it was completely packed when we walked in there and brought the trophy in. Like, I think I'm not even joking, I think everyone from Rapids went to the state tournament that year. It's hilarious. So everybody, like, knows who you are if you just play on the high school team. Like, that's how big of a deal it is, which is, something you don't realize when you're in the moment. When you go back, there's 4,000 or 5,000 people at a high school hockey game. Like, it's crazy. So definitely good experience growing up, and, it makes you really take hockey seriously, as a kid. So,
side note, and I want your vote here too, because I haven't been to probably as many high school rinks around the state and around the region as you have. I've been to a lot of them, but the IRA Civic Center is got to be near, if not top of the list. I mean, it was your home rink, so you might be biased, but you've played in a lot of rinks. I mean, I haven't found many that compare to the IRA.
No, I would have to agree with that. I think the closest thing to the IRA is Braemar, just because it has that old feel, but just like the roof structure, it looks so sick. Like, it's so cool. No, they did a really good job with that rink. They actually just remodeled it because there's some cracks in the roof, but they made it the exact same. So still have that iconic old feel to it.
Yeah, in college hockey, we always talk about, like, you get out east. Cornell coming up in a couple weeks here, and Princeton, a lot of the Ivies and small Northeastern, they have these old historic rinks. The Iron Range, I think, is that. Iron Range in Grand Rapids, northern Minnesota there, I think, is that for like Minnesota high school hockey. There's some really cool old rinks up there.
Yeah, I'm going to add one more. Hibbing, the Hippodrome. Oh, that's a sweet rink. That gives Rapids a run for its money.
The Hippodrome or Hibbing Memorial?
Sorry, Hibbing Memorial.
Okay, because Hippodrome's in Everett.
Yeah,
that's a cool rink
that's
too.
A cool rink too. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more with Zach Stejskal. You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
Greetings from Northlandia, a place to bring your curiosity, because here you will find curiosities. Whether it's a look inside the Northern Rail Train Car Inn or an introduction to Duluth's musical roboticist, Robot Rickshaw, we celebrate the region's distinctive people, places, and history. Each week, I'm joined by my fellow reporters who share the unique and fascinating stories that they discover while exploring the Northland. You can find new episodes of the Northlandia podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us along this journey and discover the extraordinary stories that you just might miss if you're not in the right place at the right time, ready to step off the beaten path with no rush to return, here in Northlandia.
Hi, I'm Maria Lockwood, a reporter with the Superior Telegram. Explore Superior and Douglas County history with me on Archive Dive, a monthly podcast available at superiortelegram.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. They're proud to be the team physicians for the UMD Bulldogs and provide sports medicine care to more than 25,000 student athletes in the community to ensure they can compete at the highest level while protecting their long-term health and athletic futures. Thanks to Essentia Health for their support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast. I'm Matt Wellens, along with my co-host Zach Schneider, and our guest this week, Zach Stejskal. We're talking about goaltending coaches, Brant Nicklin, now a paid member of the Bulldogs staff this year. I think we had talked about this pending NCAA rule change last year on the podcast. He goes from a volunteer assistant to a paid assistant. The NCAA eliminated the volunteer designation, but allowed teams to add another paid assistant. For you and the goaltenders, how's that dynamic changed now with Brant, not just a volunteer coming in he acted almost like a paid coach.
Right.
The amount of work he put in with you guys, and I think we could see the passion of you talking about coaching goaltending. He has a similar passion. What's that dynamic been like this year?
It's been great, honestly. Since he's now a paid coach, he's been spending a lot more time at the rink. And so that allows the goalies to get more video film in. So watching their power plays, what they're doing on their breakouts, forechecking. And it allows us now in season more time in the ice. So he's out there for more practices, all of which have been, beneficial to us. So.
You mentioned going into this past weekend series against Northern Michigan that your perspective, maybe from this time last year, had changed a little bit, focused more on the present, not worried about what's going to happen later in the season, who's going to play between you and the other goalies, things like that. Is Brandt a big driver of that? Every time we talk to him, he seems like he's got kind of a calming presence, at least when he talks to us about the position. Is he like that in the room as well?
Yeah, I think Brent's helped me with my game, since when I've came here to where I am now. If you were to watch my film from freshman year, just footwork, it's hilarious. It's comical. Seriously. No,
And you were pretty dang good your freshman year, by the way.
Yeah. No, I give him a lot of credit. He is a calming presence, and I really like him as a goalie coach because he's not trying to force you to change anything that's, vital to your game, because everybody has a different style of game as a goalie, and he doesn't try to change much, just maybe tweak a few things, you know what I mean? And I've had goalie coaches in the past where it's like, oh, you need to change this, you need to do this, and they're like, if you don't, then you're not going to play. But Brandt kind of just lets you play, and just if you can make a save, you can make a save, right? So that's really, helps us out as goalies because we're not thinking too much. We're just going out there and playing, which is a good thing,
I was saying your freshman year, you were pretty dang good. But what are some of the things that maybe novices like Zach and I who aren't tuned into goaltending, heck, even Scott Sandlin likes to joke with us all the time. I don't deal with the goaltenders. I just leave it to Brandt. He likes to say he's very hands off with you guys. What are some of the things your freshman year that give some examples of areas that maybe look? I think one of the things is highlight reel saves. Goaltenders have always told the flashy saves and everything like that usually means they've been caught out of position or something like that. What are some examples of areas you've improved most from your freshman year that maybe you'd laugh back at now that we thought maybe looked cool?
Yeah. I think my first game in college hockey, a minute and 30 into my college hockey career, I went back and played the puck, and there was a miscommunication between me and my D, and I left it. Miami picks it up, wraps around, and scores.
I remember that now that you mentioned
it. A minute and 30
into
my college career. So playing the puck, number one, that's been a huge thing this year. I feel way more confident playing the puck this year. To get into the nitty-gritty, hand positioning, where your hands are relative to your body really helps with balance. And so even a little bit last year, I kind of had my hand up here. But I've really worked on, my core strength, my flexibility, and also my hand positioning to allow me to stay more balanced and over the puck this year. And honestly, I feel this is the best my game's ever been, to be honest, which is really exciting for me. And, you kind of mentioned it. I kind of worked on just taking a deep breath and relaxing. We play such a hard position. I'm a goalie. There's two things I can do. Make a save or let up a goal. So why am I getting mad at letting up a goal? Seriously, you know what I mean? If you really beat yourself up about that stuff, it's just going to eat you away. And I think kind of last year and the prior years, it did. But it's goals are going to happen. So I've really changed that aspect of my game. So mentally and physically, I think, just gotten stronger.
I want to get into your mind a little bit after this year's season opener against Michigan Tech, because you and their goaltender Blake Pietola couldn't be more different, probably in your size, the presence you have on the ice, the way you play, because he's 6 foot, you're 6'5". You just have to play in a different way.
Right.
But that season opener, you both made really incredible saves in what ended as a 2-2 tie. When you see a goaltender doing things like he did throughout that game, I think you both ended with something like over 40 saves, 42, 43 saves.
I think
it was 40 saves each that night or something.
Yeah, I want to say I had mid 30s and he had low 40s or something. But
it was high, and there were several spectacular saves I felt on both ends. But when you see the opposing goaltender doing things like he does that create this competition? Because when we're watching it, we're almost like, well, Blake did this, then Zach did this, then Blake did it. It felt like you were one-upping each other that entire game.
Right. There is a competition. Like, you always want to beat that guy on the other side of the rink, right? So you're not really playing their team. You're kind of playing their other goalie sometimes, you know? But no, I don't really think about that. Obviously, kind of gets frustrating when you see your guys, like, you know, having great chances and just not bearing. But, you know, I try to keep it away from thinking like, oh, I got to beat this guy at the end of the rink. I kind of more worried about just the next shot, to be honest. Worrying about what their players are going to do rather than what the goalie's doing down there.
All right, we got to wrap up this episode so Zach can get to class. We're recording this on a Monday morning here. Don't want him to be late for any academics or anything. Some quick hits. You were with Will Francis at a Twins game last month. Their childhood cancer awareness night out there. He got to throw out a first pitch. He was just a bit outside on his throw, but he didn't one-hop it. He got it to the plate. If you had to pick one teammate to try and get an out from a major leaguer, so maybe you get him. We're not going to necessarily say strikeout, okay, but maybe get him to hit into a ground out or something. Who's the teammate you're putting on the mound?
Oh, I got the answer right away. Zach Sandy, JR we call him. He has mentioned multiple times he almost made it to the Little League World Series. They lost in the regional. I'm not even joking. It probably gets brought up every week. And we have a Snapchat like group, and he always sends like old highlights of him in baseball, which is hilarious. Like, he was a really good baseball player. So if I have to pick one person, it's Zach Sandy.
I think Adam Krause was a pretty good baseball player around here too, back in his day in Hermantown.
Yep. Shep was a pretty good baseball player.
Yeah, I think
a couple good baseball players that have come through UMD in the hockey program. Yeah.
Do you guys still have a fast pitch or slow pitch softball team? I think Shep used to be the captain of that. That was pretty competitive.
I mean, I don't know if I can share this on the air.
It's top secret team.
We had one last year, and we ended up beating a team pretty bad. Okay, we were good. We were in the 30 run count, but we asked the people. We were polite. We're like, "Do you guys want to keep playing?" We asked the ump there, who was like, "Yeah, you guys can keep playing, whatever. Like, just play. You came here," and some reason we got suspended the next game for outscoring them too much when we were literally like, "Hey, do you guys just want to keep playing? Like, we're here."
Yep.
So I'm not even joking. It was nothing other than that, and we got suspended somehow. So I think we got kicked out of playing softball.
We've been told by people in Irma that Carson Soucy is a better fast pitch softball player than hockey player. Fast pitch, really huge in Irma. Shout out to the Irma Tigers. But yeah, the claim is that Parker and them are pretty good, but Carson Soucy's a better ball player than hockey player.
We'll get the Cohasset Grand Rapids team against the Irma team maybe once all the careers are over.
If you had to pick one teammate to get a hit off a major league pitcher, who are you picking? To
get a hit? Oh, geez. I've played baseball with some of these guys. I think I can narrow it down to just a few. Franny, he used to play baseball, and he's super athletic, so he's probably got the power there, but Tease could hit a baseball. Oh, Darian Goetz. I'm probably going to pick Goater because he was a good baseball player back in the day.
Give us your dream goalie pad and helmet setup. If there are no restrictions at all, I don't know if there's anyone's out there that's really jumped out to you. We'll close out the podcast with this one.
Yeah. I really like the old school look. I think Gus had it last year for the Wild, maybe, where he had new Bauer pads, but he just created the skin to look like old school retro, like brown. I would definitely like something like that. Maybe with not just like the skin print though, maybe something actually custom built. But I like the the waffle board blocker and all the brown leather strapping. So something like Jimmy Craig used to wear or something. If I could recreate that, that'd be cool.
How about helmet?
Oh, helmet. I would say like one of those Freddy Krueger hockey masks, but I don't think that would be too fun to wear, to be honest. I'd get a lot of pucks to the face. That wouldn't feel good. There's actually like a picture.
Tough to see out of those as well, right?
Yeah. There's a few pictures of old college goalies wearing those masks, and it's horrifying, to be honest. So if I could do something like that, but maybe have a little more padding, just kind of, I don't know. I like the old retro stuff. So.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up there. Zach, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me.
So that's all the time we have on the Bulldog Insider Podcast this week. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe and rate us. For more Bulldogs hockey coverage, visit DuluthNewsTribune.com/Bulldog Insider. Subscribe to gain access to all of our coverage all season long. Zach, I won't cut you off on TV this week. What do we got on My 9 Sports coming up?
Friday night, the opener of that home and home series against Bemidji State for the men, and then I'll let you and Bruce follow the team to Bemidji on Saturday, and I'll stay behind and enjoy myself, so don't hit any deer on the way back.
Yeah, watch out for deer.
I'll be ready by Sunday. You're coming home Sunday. I'll be ready and available by Sunday morning.
Sunday? Okay,
yeah,
but
Saturday night is out.
Bruce is on his own Saturday night. Yeah, anyone traveling up and down US 2 this weekend, or basically even in Duluth, I've almost hit deer on London Road coming home to steal from my countryman Charlie Barons. Watch out for deer. Thanks to our sponsor, Essentia Health, for their support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast, and thanks to all of you listening. We'll catch you next week.